Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Friday Night Ghost Stories. We are back after a week off, so let's get the show on the road, and then we're going to take a trip to Ohio. Hello, and welcome to the library. So happy to see you here this evening, and honored as usual that you would join me and spend your Friday night, a little bit of your Friday night with me. So let me just say hello to folks first before we get into anything else. Hello, Arlene. Great to see you. Arm distance in the house. Cranky is here. Gerard, my friend, is here. Paulie Donuts was the first person to comment. I'm sorry today. That's pretty awesome. Who else we've got here? We've got Stiggs, of course, checking in. We have Delilah is here. We have Sven Larson. We have who else? Dave T from Boston in the house. Cinnamon Girl, of course, is here checking the stories out. Did I miss anybody else? Let me see. I think I got everyone so far. Hopefully some more. Osada's here. How could I miss Osada? He is here. And I think that's it for now. But as people come in, of course, I will always say hello to them because I appreciate them being here. All right. Now before I get into anything, as you can see Lenny over here. Lenny is a little upset. Look at them. Look at the tear. Look at the tear on Lenny's eyes. Can you this is not good. We can't have Lenny unhappy, right? So I don't really, and I was pretty puzzled by this because I never saw a skeleton cry before, but as you can see, he's got a tear there. So I was wondering, like, what is he all upset? And he said that he was upset about the election that we just went through. Hello, Carmela. Hello, Tony the Night Owl. Great to see you guys. Now, he wasn't upset about the results, though. That was, a lot of people I saw on YouTube and other social medias were upset about the results. He was not upset about the results. He was really upset because he couldn't vote this time. And, and that's unusual, right? Because he's so used to voting. Because before he came to live with me, he was in a cemetery, and he would make sure that he voted every single time in every Democratic primary and every New Jersey election, he voted. So because he doesn't no longer live in a cemetery, he really didn't get to vote this time. So he's very upset about that. So Lenny, don't worry about it. We'll figure out a way next time. Maybe we can figure out a way for you to vote, even though you're not living in the cemetery anymore. But anyway, so let's get rid of your tear. Come on, we don't need that. We don't need you crying. There we go. We need a happy show tonight. All right. Hello, Patrick Ortega. Good to see you, my friend. All right. And then, of course, we've got Victor. I would be remiss without talking about Victor being here, because Victor's an important part of the show. He's our mascot, right? So let's light our candles, shall we? If we can. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, there we go. Let's do this one. All right. These are new candles, so I'm not sure what they're doing here. Why they're not working. I'm having trouble lighting these candles. My secondary candle. There we go. All right, that's good. That's good. That's good. Let me see if I shut this off. Is that better? There we go. Better. A little better ambiance, as they might say. What's going on with this guy? We need him a little bit more light from him. What is going on? Or we're going to replace him. How are we doing tonight, everyone? I hope everyone's doing well. Bill Bobo, good to see you, my friend. I hope I did not miss anyone. I do not want to miss anyone. Okay, let's bring this up here. Give our secondary a little bit more light. There we go. That's better. All right. All right, so let's talk about Ohio. Ghost from Ohio. I see that, Sven. Delilah, you say battery-operated tapers. Interesting. And they look real? Do they look real? I'll have to check that out. Yeah, no, all right, that's interesting. I'll look into that. All right. Now, before I get into the story, one thing I was thinking about doing, and I wanted to throw it out there for you guys and see what you thought about this. It's not something that I publicized or really promote, but I do have memberships to the channel, and I haven't promoted them at all. And I'm not saying, sign up for a membership. But what I was thinking about doing is gifting some memberships and then having membership shows where I actually go on a paranormal investigation. Now, I haven't quite figured that out yet, but if that's something that sounds good that folks would be like to see, that's what I was thinking about doing. I will, if I go in that direction, I will definitely, have those shows that are for the membership only, that would be on the actual paranormal investigation. So I don't know. It's just something I'm thinking about. So if anyone is interested, leave me a comment. Leave me a comment about that, what you think about it, if it's a good idea or not a good idea. Oh, Gerard, thank you so much. Gerard just became a member. Thank you, Gerard. I know Slim is also a member. Slim is also a member. So I got 2 members now. Awesome. But anyway, just an idea. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it, and we can go from there. Is Just Chilling here? Just Chilling from the West Coast is here. Great to see you, my friend. Osada, number 3 membership. Thank you, my friend. All right, so let's get moving here on our stories. We don't want to waste too much time. And I do have some paranormal videos at the end. And like I said before, it does get kind of hard with the paranormal videos because most of them are actually full of crap. But I do try to weed out the total garbage ones and just bring up the ones that I think might be something. There might be something to them. So it takes me a while to find those. Excuse me. But we will see. So I just want to respond to someone real quick, and I will be right there. And we will get moving with our Ohio. And the idea is to go to every state. I want to do ghost stories from every state in the union, and then do Canada, and then go on, go expand from there. because I think we're hitting just about every state. I'm in Ohio now. I think I did everything on the East Coast. I'll go back and double check, but I think I've done everything on the East Coast. I'm making my way west, and I'm going to cover the whole country in terms of because every state has a ghost story, or at least a few ghost stories. So I think it's an interesting thing to travel around thinking about ghosts and what they're doing. Um, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, here we go. Now, for tonight's Ohio. I've never been to the state. It's an interesting state, though. It's just the other side of Pennsylvania, so it's not that far from me. But I've always been intrigued about certain things about it. So I figured, hey, Adam, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Um, let's get moving here. So I got three stories. Well, I have three stories. The last story is like more of a larger story. It has subclass to it, has sub stories to it. So we'll approach it that way. I'll start with this first one is called The Poltergeist of Timmins Bridge. Now, this story, when I heard it, was very familiar to me, and it seems to be a story that recurs throughout the country over and over again. A jilted lover ends up taking his or her own life because of the failed love affair. And then we have a spirit haunting that results of it. So this one takes place in the 1880s. And it goes by the name of, it starts with an individual by the name of Enos K. Enos K. And it is said that he was a local fella in this area, a very adamant churchgoer. And in fact, he met his soon to be fiancee, Elvira, at a church picnic. And they fell in love. And he was head over heels for Elvira. And of course, proposed marriage to her very quickly, to the chagrin of his family and friends who warned him that Elvira had a reputation and Elvira was not someone that you would rush into a relationship with. But love calls, and that's what he's doing. That's what he does. He goes and follows love's calling. Just chilling, no drinking tonight. I just have some seltzer to keep my mouth moist while I speak. That's it. Um, sorry to disappoint on that end, but that's no drinking for me tonight. So anyway, so Enos gets engaged to Elvira, and he begins to hear rumors about the area, about her meeting other men, and she's seen by his friends holding hands with various different people walking the creek at night. So Enos, of course, believes nothing of the sort, and actually gets into fights with individuals who say this. Well, it got to the point where he heard nothing but story after story about how Elvira was untrue to him and was spending time with a whole bunch of other men and beaux, as they used to say. So it becomes one night that he's fed up and he decides he's going to go to Elvira's house and he's going to find her out once and for all to see if she is unfaithful to him. So he goes to her house, and to his sadness, he finds that not only has she been unfaithful, but she has eloped. She's gone completely. Left a note that she eloped with her true love and was going to live in another town, in another county, and she wishes him well. Well, of course, poor old Enos was heartbroken, and Enos didn't know actually what to do at that point. So he wanders off, downtrodden and severely depressed, and he finds himself at Timmins Bridge. And it's at this point that he decides that there is no more reason for him to live. And he fastens his belt around the rafters and makes it in around his neck. And just as before he leaps to his death on the rafters, he yells out a curse. He yells out this curse, which was said to have been heard echoing through the woods that surround Timmins Bridge, that he will haunt fool lovers till judgment day. I will haunt Fool lovers till judgment day. And with that, he leaps to his demise. So now this happened around the 1880s. And it is said that ever since then, his spirit has haunted Timmins Bridge and the surrounding woods. And several people have said that they have, when they drive across the bridge, that their cars will start violently shaking for no reason. And, and very few people will actually stop on the bridge because of this happening. So they'll go quickly across the bridge without stopping. That at times they'll see clawing and scratching. Once they pass through the bridge, they will see clawing and scratching that is on the windows, like hand marks, clawing and scratching hand marks on the windows. Um, and that in addition to the hearing or the hearing of the crying out curse, the hearse, many people hear the crying out of that curse at random times over the wind throughout the area. So a creepy story, but very similar to stories we hear in other parts of the country of a jilted lover in a bridge and they end up taking their own lives. So um some people think that it's a sinister force too that's in there. That's another thing about this, is that some people think that it's Enos's ghost, but some other people think there's also a sinister force that haunts that area, which could be contributing to the clawing and stuff like that. Who knows? These are the random acts that have been seen and stories that have been told because of this unfaithful woman and this poor jilted guy that decided to take his own life because of that. So, and it's also said that he only tends to bother couples. So if you are a single person driving across there or walking across the bridge, and now that's a good point. I forgot to show you the bridge. Let me show you the bridge. we can't we can't not show you things. We got to show you what I'm talking about here. Okay. All right, there we go. Now, let's do, there we go, Timmins Bridge. Where is it? Here we go. This is Timmins Bridge. And you can see it's quite a jump here, quite a jump that you could perish here. Now, this obviously wasn't what the bridge looked like at the time of the event in the 1880s, but it's been built since. But it's said that it's been rebuilt. But since then, it is said that if you walk across this or drive across it, there's a chance you'll encounter Enos's ghost. And if you are a couple that is fighting, this is interesting. If you're a couple that is fighting or arguing while you go across the bridge, Enos won't bother you. But if you're a happy couple and laughing, you might get an encounter of Enos. And if you're a single person going across that bridge, you will not get bothered by Enos at all. So interesting thing. He's very selective as to who he is against. He doesn't like lovers, because he was jilted and he thinks all lovers are fools. So he's there to disrupt them. So stay away from Timmins Bridge unless you're single, I guess. Then you're pretty good. You're fine to walk across Timmins Bridge. But just an interesting little poltergeist of Timmins Bridge by the name of Enos K. So that's story number one. Interesting little tidbit there. Let's get rid of that. Okay. All right. Let's go on to number two. Number two. Now, number two is a tunnel. I know now this story is about a tunnel. This tunnel is located in southeastern Ohio, and it's called Moonville Tunnel. Now, let me show you what Moonville Tunnel looks like. And it is, let's say, Elvira took the slow train from Philly, Gerard, right? It is the bridge to Kentucky. I don't know, Carmela. I couldn't find a lot of information specifically as to where that is. I think it's across the Ohio River. Is the Ohio River between Kentucky and Ohio? If it is, then it would be. It would be the bridge one of the bridges that connects the two. So I don't know. Hi, Deborah Roberts. Good to see you. All right. So Moonville. We're talking about Moonville. Moonville Tunnel. Now, let's see. Moonville Tunnel. Now, here's Moonville Tunnel. Let's get you a full screen. This is a pretty creepy looking tunnel. It's very, as you could see, it's very long and dark in there and dank. And it was actually a bridge where a train would go through. The tracks are long gone, but this is where a train would go through. Now, this is located in southeastern Ohio in Hocking Hills State Park. So it's all protected land at this point. And quite often there will be paranormal excursions into the bridge where people will go in and try to contact spirits, etc., etc. So it's really a creepy looking area, all wood covered around it, and then you have this old, cement bridge that once covered a railroad. So interesting stuff, tunnel there. And let me get back to my uh, shared screen. There we go. Now, with this one, this is an interesting story, and also a similar story that you hear from time to time around the country. The story goes that there was a train conductor. I'm sorry, train engineer by the name of Theodore Lawhill, who was taking his train on an eastbound direction through the tunnel. And unfortunately, at the time, the dispatch had screwed up the scheduling and did not tell him or tell the opposing train that was going westbound that both trains would be on the same track at the same time. So, it's a recipe for disaster. These tracks were shared, so it's very important that the scheduling of those trains were followed to the T. So these trains end up coming on a collision course, a head-on collision course. And as you can tell, when that happens, supposedly it happened in the middle of the tracks. I mean, in the middle of the tunnel. And when that happens, it was a disaster. And Enos, of course, I mean, not Enos, and Theodore, of course, lost his life. And it is said that Theodore's ghost has yet to leave the tunnel since this accident happened in the 80s. This has also happened in the 1880s. Now, what happens in the actual tunnel that tells us that Theodore's ghost is there? Well, some people say that they hear the train whistles constantly. Whenever they go through the tunnel, they will hear in the distance the train whistles vehemently blowing in a vain effort to warn each other that there's going to be a collision. They'll hear that multiple whistles on both sides blowing, which to me would be fascinating to actually experience that on both sides if you're in the middle of the tunnel. Other people say that they have actually seen Theodore's ghost. They've seen Theodore's ghost hovering about in the tunnel and around the tunnel, and that finally some people say they see a light in there. Now the light, some people say it's the lights on the trains as they are about to collide. Others say it's the light of a lantern, probably held by Theodore's ghost, as he waves it back and forth in a vain effort to avoid the accident happening over and over again to warn off the other train. Nobody really knows. But the most recent encounters was by paranormal investigators who claim to have seen his ghost, Theodore's ghost, actually hovering around the outside of the bridge on these stone type stairs or steps. It's just support for the bridge, but they've seen his ghost hovering up here and would float down and carrying a lantern. So quite an interesting little encounter there in Moonville Tunnel. Theodore Lawhill's ghost haunting the site of his demise. Wait, why does this say Sleepy Hollow? That's not good. What is that all about? I don't know how that happened. I did not change that. We can't have that. This is not Sleepy Hollow. This is Ghosts of Ohio. So we got to change that. Sorry about that. Didn't notice it. Anyway, So, Zelda. Hi, Zelda. Good to see you. Thank you for joining and hanging out a bit. So, that's your second one, Moonville Tunnel, a spooky place where multiple people. It's interesting because the only death that's reported is Theodore's. Now, that's very odd because you would think that at least the engineer on the other train died with a head on collision. But who knows? That's the only death we hear about, and therefore the ghost has contributed to him. Interesting. All right. Let's get rid of Moonville Tunnel. All right. All right. Now, finally, the last story is comprised of 4 little stories. Now, the background of this all takes place in an area called Rogues Hollow, Ohio. And it's just south of Doylestown, Ohio. Now, the reason it's called Rogues Hollow is because in the late 1800s, there was a mining community here. And this mining community attracted some of the most unsavory and nefarious characters. Thus, the name Rogues Hollow. It was a low-lying area where they built up a tavern and a store and a few huts, and it attracted these nefarious characters that would sometimes mine for the company, then take off. There was rumors about train robbers who took up residency there, other bandits. So it's an area that had a bad reputation of bad people hanging out and living there in the late 1800s. Now, in this Rogues Hollow, the area, and it's not a tiny place. It's quite big. It has 4 main ghost stories that seem to come up again and again. Now, the first one is called The Ghost of Chichester Mill. The Ghost of Chichester Mill. Now, one of the houses in Rogues Hollow or one of the buildings is Chichester Mill. Now, let me see if I can get a picture of Chichester Mill because I want you to see this. And this picture is pretty creepy looking itself. I mean, that is a desolate, old-looking, intimidating black and white photograph that would creep me out just by looking at the photograph, never mind being there. But this is Chedester Mill building. It was a mill, and the story goes that there was a mill worker that worked in here many late hours, many long days, giving his life and dedication to the mill until one day he fell and slipped and fell into the mill's giant wheelstone and was crushed. And his spirit has been there ever since. So, now it says that and I couldn't find a name for this guy. It's interesting. The story doesn't give a name to him like the other 2 ghosts, but it does say that his spirit guards this area and this building, and guards it so much that in the mid 1900s, the mid 20th century, there was a developer that was going to buy Rogues Hollow and build houses, 1950s, 1960s. And it said that the ghost was so upset about this that he actually caused a fire that occurred, which prevented the sale of this property. Now, how exactly that prevented the sale, I'm not sure, but this ghost was very, very active about protecting his area. He was dedicated to this mill, wanted to save it, and did so by lighting some type of fire that did, I guess, enough damage to things, or I don't know, whatever it was, but it ended up not being purchased or developed by the developer. And eventually this becomes protected land. It becomes a state site, a historical state site. and that's why it's still in existence today. Now, this picture was taken in the early 1900s, like the turn of the 20th century. But it looks, it's been refurbished in a historical sense, so it looks a lot better than it does in this picture. Not as creepy, but it's still there, and you can go on tours of it, and you can see if you can encounter the ghost of the mill of Chedester Mill. So interesting again, another interesting type of situation. All right. Let's go on to the next one. That's the first one in Rogues Hollow, Chidester Mill. All right. Oh, this is interesting. Before I do that, Rogues Hollow, like I said, it's now a historical site, but this is really interesting to me. Every August, every first Friday and every first Saturday of August, they have something called a Rogues Hollow Festival, and it attracts thousands of people. And I actually got a picture of the most recent festival, I guess, which was last August. If I can, here we go. So you can see in this picture, it's a street fair. It's loaded with people coming and buying food, et cetera, et cetera. So it's quite a popular area for this festival. So this Rogues Hollow and its history, I guess, attracts a lot of people. So I just thought that was interesting. And if you're ever in Ohio and near Doylestown, you might want to check out Rogues Hollow Festival, first Friday and Saturday of August every year. So, all right, let's get rid of that. Now let's go on to the next story in Rogues Hollow. The next story in Rogues Hollow is another bridge story. And now this one's called Crybaby Bridge. Now, there is a bridge over the Silver Creek, which runs through this area. And it is said that in the 1930s, a car slid on the ice and plunged into the water with the occupants, killed the mother. It was a family, killed the mother and the father. But the baby, and this is like a baby, the baby survived, at least for a while, but was stranded in the car because the wreckage was not discovered for many days. And the baby, when they finally discovered the wreckage, had perished from the elements, not from the crash, had perished from the cold and the starving, not having food, because it was on its own, trying to survive in this car, and it was really literally a baby. So it is said that the term crybaby bridge comes from the encounters that people have had hearing the baby crying around the bridge and in the woods around it. Very creepy to hear a child or anything that sounds like a child crying out in where there's nothing. I have encountered that before, and it's quite bone chilling, I would say. So not much more to the story than that, just that there was this accident that unfortunately a family perished, and the spirit of this baby, it seems to be haunting the area, not leaving. So Crybaby Bridge over the Silver Creek in Rogues Hollow. So that's your second Rogues Hollow story. Now, the third Rogues Hollow story is just a general sighting, walking around the area. Don McHugh in the house, my friend from Australia. How are you? Good to see you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. That's awesome. Thank you, my friend. Krumel in the house. How are you? I just saw you here. Didn't know you were here. Now, this one is about this ghost is just a woman, a totally gray woman, dressed in frontier dress, and is wandering around the grounds or rounding around the grounds of those buildings that I showed you and the mill around, just wandering about. And people will see her wandering about, and when they get close enough to her, she will vanish and dematerialize, so to speak. So interesting thing there. In addition to that, in addition to her seeing her figure, when people see that figure, they also hear the whistle of an old train at the same time, which is interesting because this train, it was a milling town, so it must have been a track. There's no track there now, but there must have been some type of track that brought in their supplies and brought out coal. It was from the mining and the milling. So it's very likely that there was a train that went through there, and this is the spirit of that, over the years, the whistling of that train. Now, what's the connection between the woman, the gray woman, and the train? Who knows? Maybe she was killed by the train. I don't know. There's no documentation I could find on it, only that people see her, and in conjunction, when they see her, they hear the train whistle. So, another little interesting fact about Rogues Hollow. So, that was number 3. Now, the final story about Rogues Hollow is kind of weird because it's really about a headless horse, not a headless horseman, a headless horse. So the story goes that there was a huge oak tree on the top of a hill near Route 65. Now, Route 65 goes through an area of Rogues Hollow. And that this oak tree was hundreds of years old, and it had very low hanging, thick, strong branches. And that many a rider riding by there who wasn't paying attention in the 1800s would get knocked off their horse by the branches, would encounter the branches and plummet to the ground because they weren't being mindful of the branches, and the branches were strong enough to knock people off their horses. Now, it's said that one time there was a local farm, and it was a cold winter snowy night, and something happened that spooked the horses. And as a result, one of the horses bucked and took off into the snow, scared out of its wits, running full blast. And in the midst of the storm, did not see the low hanging branch of the tree and hit it full blast. And in the process of that, it severed the horse's head from the body, and to the point that the head dropped and the body kept going and dropped after a while. So bizarre story and bizarre type of ghostly encounter, because since then people have said they've seen the headless horse, not horseman, the headless horse hanging out around where the tree once was. Now, the tree has long since gone, but that hill obviously is still there, and that's where they see the headless horse. And people, in addition, some people have said that in addition to seeing the horse itself being headless, now, just for sake of demonstration, I found this picture that I thought was interesting. So I'll just put it up, but it's a pretty strong looking horse. It might be a Clydesdale, but and it said that this was a strong, draft horse, like a big, strong working horse that ended up getting its head chopped off. And its spirit still hangs around. But some people say that they see on the top of the headless horse, they see a demon or a devil at times, or an imp. So really strange, in my opinion, like very, very strange and odd legend and ghost story. A headless horse and the possibility of a demon or an imp sitting on top of the horse. So really weird stuff. Who knows? It's kind of weird. It's just a kind of a weird legend, but it's there. And people have said that they have seen the headless horse, the body without the head of the horse. Who knows? But that's just that's the fourth and final story of Rogue's Hollow. So you had the Chidester Mill Ghost, you have the Headless Horse, and then you have the Gray Lady, and then you had Crybaby Bridge, all happening in Rogue's Hollow near Doylestown, Ohio. So those are your four sub stories of the three. So you got Rogue's Hollow, you got Moonville Tunnel with the ghost of Theodore Lawhill, and then of course you have the Poltergeist of Timothy Bridge, which is poor love scarred um, Enos K. So a lot of hauntings going around in southeastern Ohio. If you ever are interested in checking that out. All right. Now let's get rid of that. And let's go to see what we have in terms of some paranormal videos, right? Let's see what we got here. And like I said, they're not that great, but what are you going to do, right? All right. All righty. Now, listen, if anyone wants Don McHugh or if anyone wants to come up and comment on the videos with me, you're welcome to. I'll put the link in the chat. Just let me know. I don't think Todd Father will do it sometimes. I don't think Todd Father's here tonight. But if anyone wants to do that, let me know. And I will drop the link. All right, let's go here. I know this is an odd time for Don. I think it's early morning over there, right? Saturday morning for Don. All right. Let's do this. Let's get started with our paranormal videos. All right. All right. Let's see. Let me launch them first. Wait, I didn't even launch them. We can't have that. We need to see them first. Okay. I think I have 4 of them to see. 4 of these bad boys. Okay. All right. All righty then. Okay, here's your first one. All right. Now this one, excuse me, I think this one comes from Mexico. But let's see this for a while. Let's see. Now this is let me set this up right. This is a security camera of a parking lot. And the individual you see in the middle here, let me go to full screen here. The individual you see in the middle here is coming into work. He works there, I believe, as a security guard. And the security guard is currently watching the security guard that's on duty, he's coming to relieve, is watching this. All right. So he sees him coming in. Now watch behind him. You see something right here, right? Let's see what happens here. As you can see, that thing, whatever that was there, and then it vanished. Now let's see if we can go. Let's see if they will show it again here. I think they will. I think this is long enough to show it again. There he is coming, right? And then you'll see behind him, look at this image, right? And then he turns around and it's gone. It's actually gone before he turns around and he sees nothing there. There it comes. And then it vanishes. So you got me on that one. I don't know. What do you guys think? So Sven, you're talking about some historical stuff there. I'll have to look into that. Tony thinks it's freaky, huh? Shadow Man. Deborah Roberts says Shadow Man. Let's see if I can go back here. Hold on. Here we go. It's definitely a shadow, right? And then the way it like vanishes right here, it vanishes. Now I don't know. I mean, it can't be just a regular person from my perspective, because then you'd see it, right? You'd see it. You would see the person. You wouldn't see like this dark image all alone, right? I don't know. It's definitely creepy, and the fact that the guy turns around and sees not and sees nothing. No, he doesn't, Deborah. He doesn't act afraid. He doesn't know what's going on. From what I understand, he doesn't know what's going on. The reason he turns around and looks is because the security guard that's watching this tells him, in like an earpiece, to turn around and look, and then he sees nothing there. So, I don't know. Gianni, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Yeah, Tony, it's like he felt it, right? But what they said in the video that I saw was that the security guard that's on duty asks him to turn around and look. So I don't know. It's just it's strange. So it looks, according to that video, it said he didn't know it was there, but that the guy told him to turn around and look, and then you see it vanishes before he turns around, though. So I don't know. Oh, Sven Shakes. Oh yeah, Hamlet, of course, sure. How can I forget about Hamlet? All right, so that's your first one. I think that one is up in the air. Like I think that one, there's no clear way to debunk it. I could be, if someone can debunk it, please let me know. But I don't think there's any clear way to debunk that one. All right, let's get rid of that one. All right. All right, next one. Let's see. How do I get rid of you? How do I get rid of you? Why is this still here? What the heck is going on? I can't get rid of it. That is not good. There we go. Goodbye. 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 All right. Now, next one. All right. Next one. Here we go. All right. Sorry, it's taking me a bit because I got to maneuver around here. If I had 12,000 screens like Tommy Sticks, it would be easier, but I don't. All right. Let's go. Number 2 coming up. Number 2. All right. Here we go. Now, this is creepy. All right. This is a lightning storm that's happening, and this is from Iowa. And this woman's looking out her front door, and across from her front door is a field, an open field. And she sees, as the lightning strikes, between the lightning striking and lighting up everything in the darkness afterwards, she sees a figure materialize and disappear. Now, it'll get to the point where let's show you it clear. There we go. This is what and you see the flash lightning comes and it vanishes, right? It goes away, then it's back, right? And here comes the flash of lightning and it vanishes. You can't see it any longer. So outside ghost stuff like this is always interests me more than in a house or in a structure, because it's harder to fake and fascinating to me that something like this might be happening out in the open where anybody can see it happening. Let's go back a little bit here. See, now there's the figure or whatever that is. I mean, I guess it's kind of like a figure. It's a white figure. And the lightning's coming in and out. There it is, right? Lightning strikes, it vanishes. Right? Then there's nothing there. And the sound, there's no sound on the video because I did not record the sound, but you hear her freaking out and she says, "Well, look at this, look at that, look at that, look at that." And then she says it's time to move at the end of the video. So it obviously freaked the woman out that was filming this. And the reason behind her filming is that this is not the first time this has happened. So when the storm occurred, she got her phone out and started recording because she expected it to happen. So, hey, Tony, good to see you, my friend. Stony Tony, good to see you. Teresa, good to see you. Nice to see you, Teresa. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it. All right, so that's number 2. Let's say adios to that. Okay. Stop sharing. All right. Now let's go on to number 3. Number 3. Now this one is from the Middle East. Now let me set this up for you too. Before I put it on the screen, let me set it up so that we know what's going on here. All right, here we go. Now, this is a cruise ship graveyard, believe it or not. I was even fascinated to even know that it existed. But somewhere in the Mediterranean, there is a cruise ship graveyard. These are old cruise ships that are no longer in use, abandoned, and they just sit here anchored to the shore. I guess because it costs too much money to get rid of them or dismantle them, so they just kind of sit here. Now, this person sees these 2 ships and begins filming just because it's an oddity. Right? So, here's one of them. And you can see it's damaged. The ship's damaged and everything. And it's clearly abandoned. There's no one in these ships. They're completely abandoned. Now, when he goes over to the right ship, the one that's going to come up on the right, you will see in that area there, you will see a figure. And it's going to get close up and it's going to show you closer up. A dark figure walking up there. Now, there's absolutely no way to get on the ship. Look at that. And it kind of fades in and out, right? It kind of materializes and fades in and out. Hi, Gina. So that to me is bizarre. There's no one on the ship. You can't get on the ship. You really can't. There's no way to get in it. It's an abandoned ship. It is a graveyard for ships. Hey, Nick M, good to see you. Yeah, Tony, a shadow figure, right? And it's moving though, right? It's moving. There we go. Let me go back a little bit here. As you can see, it's moving. Now, again, this person that's filming this is not looking to capture ghosts. It's just somebody who saw the ships there and thought, "Wow, this is interesting." They, abandoned ships, and films it, and happens to capture this. And the reason it's zoomed in. It's zoomed in after the fact. It's not the person filming it doesn't zoom in while it's happening. It's after the fact that it's zoomed in. So a creepy shadow figure. Hey, Trock, good to see you, my friend. Trock in the house. How are you? So, is Slimity here? I see somebody say hi to Slim. Slimity here? I didn't see him. Slim, my friend. Gina, I think I said hi to you, right? Gina, hi to you. It's Gianni. Yeah. I guess it's possible if you're gonna climb up the rope like a monkey. I guess you could do it. But look at the figure itself, though. Right? It's kind of like it's kind of strange. The figure, like the way it kind of material, it fades partially, right? It's not like it's just a solid person. It kind of fades. So I don't know. I leave that up to you. I think it's just bizarre. Um, all right, let's get rid of this. So that's what there's number 3. Let me get rid of that. And let's go on to my last one. This is number 4. This one, I'm going to warn you, scary to me. It was scary. It's not a scary video, but the concept is really scary to me. All right. Now I'm going to set this one up too for you so you understand where this. I think this is in Alabama, someplace in the South. And this woman lives across the street from a church. And next to the church is a vacant lot of cleared land, and behind it is woods. So, you'll see as I play this video that she's filming something from her front porch or front stoop. Hey, Slimity, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Everyone, please tune into Slim next. Slim, 10 o'clock. He'll be on. Tune into him next. I'm just about done, so tune into them, to my friend Slim. All right, let's go here. All right, here we go. All right. Now she's filming this, right, like I said, from her front porch or front whatever. Now this is between the trees. Now you're going to see, and it's going to get better than this, but you're going to see like a shadow figure walking between the trees. Hey, Harlow, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. You're going to see the shadow figure go back and forth. And the story goes that this happens every day, in the middle of the day, no less. Not at night. As you can see, it's in the middle of the day. This shadow figure walks back and forth. And as you can see, it kind of vanishes at different points. Back and forth. And at one point, she said that she goes up to it and it's not there. Like when she goes across the street, to get to where this is happening, it's not there. So I don't know. I mean, like some people could say, it's like maybe it's a nut walking back and forth, like some wackadoo walking back and forth over and over again. But that would not explain why it like vanishes. It comes and it reappears, vanishes and reappears. This is the woman that submitted the video. But there's the church across the street, and it's right next to it. She lives in this house, and in that lot over there is where you see the figure going back and forth. And you can see it right there. You can see it in the distance. Look at it going back and forth. So to me, this would scare the heck out of me. And that would scare the heck out of me. And as you could see, and that's her dog who supposedly had an encounter, like ran away from it. So I don't know about that stuff. I just know about, the video speaks for itself, I think. It is what it is. It's puzzling to me. And, and I heard I thought about the Bigfoot concept too, but that doesn't look like a Bigfoot to me. It doesn't. And I never heard of stories of Bigfoot going back and forth over and over again like this. This to me looks like it's some type of residual shadow creature going back and forth over and over again near this church. So who knows, man? This one would creep me out. If I lived across the street from this, that would creep me out to see that going on every day during in bright daylight, So shoot at it, Tony says. It has a human-shaped head. Yeah, I think it does. Head and neck. Yes, I do. I do. I do see that. Sure. And it doesn't look like a Bigfoot, Cranky. I agree. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't look like a Bigfoot, but that was one of the theories. Oh, it's a Bigfoot sighting, but it doesn't look like Bigfoot to me. So that's so there you have it. Those are your paranormal videos for this week, 4 of them. I'll leave it up to you to decide what they are, whether they're real or not. I don't think any of them are easy to debunk. We've seen some that are easy to debunk and saying like, yeah, we don't buy this. It doesn't make sense to us. But these are kind of out there. So, you got to make your own decision as to whether it's real or if you have an explanation. I don't know. So there you have it. So anyway, that is my story for this evening. Yeah, set up a trail cam, Tony. Yeah, that's a good idea. See what the trail cam picks up. Sure. That would be a good next step in that, But who knows? These people do what you're going to do. So, hey, Emmanuel, good to see you. Um, anyway, I just found out that former Wall Street corporate raider Ivan Boesky passed away last May. Oh, okay. Is his ghost around? Is that why you're bringing it up? Should we look into his ghost somewhere? But anyway, so that's the story. And like I said earlier in the show, that I'm going to think about doing some paranormal investigations. I'm no expert at that at all, but at least just exploring areas which are known to be haunted. I would like to go there in person. And if I do that, I would do it as a membership thing on the channel. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see what it goes. And like I said, I'm going to gift some memberships too, so that people can check it out. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. And as always, I appreciate each and every one of you for stopping in and spending some time. Anytime is greatly appreciated. And leave a comment if you like the show. Leave a comment after the show. That would be great. Always hit the like, of course, but leave a comment after the show. They claim that helps with getting the video out. Who knows? We'll see. But until next week, I say stay scared. We're almost at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's coming quick. Maybe we'll do a little pilgrim ghost stuff. Let me look into that. See if I could find any pilgrim ghost stories. That's not far from Gianni. Maybe Gianni could go check it out and do it and tell us firsthand if he encounters any ghostly pilgrims. But anyway, I don't know anything about. I don't know if that even exists. But I'm going to look into that just for the theme of Thanksgiving. I love the holidays and I love getting a theme to it. So see you all next week. As always, love each and every one of you for spending time with me. I really appreciate it. And until next week, I will say, stay scared, and I will blow out our candles. Have a wonderful evening and weekend.